My name is Scott, and I'm an electroholic. Hi, I'm Scott. You may remember me from such shows as Challenger Accepted, and that's probably it. Most likely not even that. I did not trade in the Challenger. I just leased this red 2020 Bolt that I'm sitting in front of now a couple months before my Challenger lease ended. In the back of my mind, I was somehow going to swing keeping the Challenger as well. That was not possible. I ended up eventually took it back. So I'm launching a new channel, Fast Forward EV, and been planning this for quite a while. This first Fast Forward EV video is about a almost 1,000 mile trip I took at the end of April to visit every Electrify America fast charging station in Ohio. These are on highways. The reasons for this was just to see what the state of fast charging was in my state. It was something that was doable in a weekend, and it was something that would be interesting for me just to check on the state of things and as kind of a marker in the sand for where we are with EV charging. The long and the short of it is that there's no trouble taking a crisscross up and down 1,000-mile trip on Ohio's highways with an EV, stopping for 30 minutes or less every couple of hours. The question I propose is, will it still be easy next year? Or will it be easy the year after that? As EV usage increases, will these networks expand to accommodate? And I've got ants crawling all over me, and I've just got started. I've got to hurry this thing on. So what are my plans for the Fast Forward EV channel? Well, since January of 2020, I've been recording videos about the car, about the Bolt, about the EV experience, picking it up, my first impressions of it, setting up charging at home, doing charging on the road trips, all those things. I've been doing that for almost 2 years now, and have not gotten any videos up till now. But this channel is not just going to be about the Bolt, and it's not even just going to be about road cars. It's about the electrification movement, because I've gone whole hog. I want to cover other things like home solar and other vehicles that are electrified, power assist bicycles, electric scooters, electric yard equipment, electric conversions. I have a gas mini bike that I would love to convert to electric. It would be so much fun. Those topics and more will be covered more in other videos. So I hope you'll stick with us, and I hope you get some value out of this crazy, way too long jaunt across Ohio. Thanks. Good morning, everybody. Today we're going to do a little dry run of a little plan I have to do a Ohio tour of all of the fast charging stops on the highways in Ohio. And that is possible in mid-2021 because there are really only about 8 of them. But it will take 2 days because it's over 900 miles to do the loop. But today we're just going to do a part of it. The weather's not nice enough for this weekend to do the whole trip. So I'm going to take this opportunity to do one loop of it and just test out the stuff like the camera and everything else. So we've got the car charged to 90%. We are going to be using heat today, so there's going to be some range degradation because of using a heating system. This is also going to be my first time trying Google Maps because unlike Apple's map, at least I can do multiple route points. And this is the loop we're going to do today. We're going to go down to Cincinnati, up to Dayton, and then back to Columbus. Now, the normal route would continue on to the eastern edge of Ohio and then head up. but we are going to just do this southern loop today. So let's get going. Well, we're about an hour into our trip. Weather's not improving. We're in the Washington courthouse area of Ohio. And it's just getting gloomier and gloomier. It's like it's getting darker as the morning wears on. I just wanted to get a look at this Grand Caravan here with the load on top that's as big as the car. Check this guy out. That is a bundle. Wow. Wonder what's in there. Must be fairly light. Fairly inconvenient. Wow, all fancy pull-throughs. That's nice. Can't complain about the layout, that's for sure. Let's find a nice 150. Don't want to waste a 350 on this car. There we go. There we are. There's a Tesla sitting there. Have fun. Okay, we're charging. So that's what we got on the GOM here. Pulling 650 kilowatts, about as fast as it'll go. And we're charged up to about 30-35% right now. If I'm reading the screen on the pump, on the charger correctly, it's saying we're at 30% and we have 50 minutes to 80%. My plan in all of these stops was to charge to 80%, even if I didn't need it. But we'll take a look at the maps here and see how far we need to go to get to Dayton, and maybe we can scoot early. But before we do that, let's take a look at our energy usage so far. So it's hard to read that purple, but it says 3% climate setting, so that's pretty good for a trip. I did turn the heater on and off a couple of times. We've driven 115 miles. We've used 37.5 kilowatts. There's been no battery conditioning used, so outside air temperature is 52 degrees, so that's not too bad. Okay, so we'll just wait this out. I will take a look at the map and we'll figure out how long we're going to hang out here, and we'll get back on the road. So our next stop up in Dayton is only 57 miles from here, and we've already still got 88 miles of range. If we wanted to, we could just unplug now and get up to Dayton and then spend longer sitting up there. So I'm thinking we may split the difference. And as soon as this charge curve tapers off, when we get to 50%, we can maybe scoot. So that might be a better idea, instead of wasting a lot of time sitting here charging at rates below max. That might be a better plan. So we'll probably be here another 10-15 minutes, and we'll get on the road for Dayton. So let's look around. The Chili's, Strip Mall, TJ Maxx, Fresh Time Supermarket, and LA Fitness. There's all the chargers. A couple more over this way. Pretty nice stop. There's Tesla just sitting there mocking me. Okay, this is fairly impressive. It just dropped down below 40 kilowatts, and we're at 58% state of charge. We've been here charging for about 23 minutes. Yeah, I know the Bolt's not impressive because it only can charge at 50 kilowatts at a fast charger, but the charge curve is really quite gentle. I mean, we're at 58% state of charge, and we're only down just under 40 kilowatts. It's still pulling, which is, yeah, its max isn't very good, but the taper's pretty gentle. So I think it's time for us to unplug and get on the road. Let's do that. Okay, off we go. Okay, these look like they're all front-facing units. So we will go down near the Chathamo one because that's probably going to be where the... No, those are 350s. I don't want a 350. Generally have problems with those, and I don't need to be blocking that. Try to get as close to these as I can. Okay, let's get plugged in. Charging start error. To start a new charging session, reconnect. Well, that's a pain in the ass. Okay, this time it seems to be starting. I switched to the other cable. Yep. And we're pulling 52, 53 kilowatts. 31% state of charge. So again, we don't have far to go to the next one. It is west of Columbus, which Dayton is also west of Columbus. So there's actually no need to charge here at all. So we could, but again, I think I'm going to stay till it tapers off, get to 50%, probably be 20 minutes, and we'll go from there. Okay, we've gone over 50% charge, and still pulling 47 kilowatts. Really good. Super solid. Anyway, we don't need any more juice. Our next part of our route is only going to 54 miles from here. Like I said, it's west of Columbus on 70. So I've been using this iPod Touch as my camera for this trip, and I've been using this mount here for the front-facing roadway. I'm not sure how shaky it's been. I've been worried about that, so this is kind of a test. I meant to switch to the action cam for the front-facing in Cincinnati, but I forgot, so I'm gonna get that set up now, and I'll get us unplugged, and we'll get on the road.
In 1,000 feet, merge onto I-70 East.
Dude,
continue on I-70 East for 52 miles.
Do not want anything to do with this. We're gonna need to get in front of him because he is shedding. whole thing is going a lot quicker actually than I expected. I thought a lot more time would have to be spent charging. People say the Chevy Bolt is no good for road tripping, and so far I've stopped twice for 20 minutes, and I've been driving for 5 hours, and only 40 minutes of that was charging. So I think that's perfectly reasonable road tripping. You should stop for 20 minutes twice in 5 hours of driving. That's just what should happen anyway. So even though it's 1/3 the speed of the more modern, more recent EVs as far as fast charging goes, it seems adequate to me for fast charging for travel around the state or even state to state, as long as you've got the chargers every 100 to 150 miles or so, you're going to be fine. Okay, here we are at the Columbus Electrify America. Arrived with 66 miles on the GOM. We're getting 52 kilowatts as we have at the other two stops. Pretty solid. And like I said before, we don't even need to stop here to get back home, because this was just the southern loop of this. There are at least 6 more, if not 7 more chargers in Ohio than these 3. And I just wanted to do this little test, but you know, it went so quickly. I wasn't expecting to get back to Columbus until 2 p.m. and it's only noon. I'm going to eat my lunch here and think about it for a bit, but I'm thinking if I'm ahead of the weather and tomorrow's supposed to be sunny still, and I'll check that, maybe I should continue on and do this trek this weekend. It just might be worth it to go ahead and get it done now. Maybe we could repeat it sometime later in the summer to compare. But it is good to see at least one other car charging, and it is a Bolt just like mine, just black instead of red. Premier, just like mine. Okay, well, we'll charge up here, eat some lunch, and then got a decision to make. We're going to be heading home regardless, but after we get home, are we going to jump back in the car and continue on the trek, or are we going to call it a day? We'll find out. Okay, some follow-up. We're currently still pulling 44 kilowatts at 60% state of charge. I don't know if you can see that. Probably not. But anyway, that's pretty potent. And again, we don't need any of this juice to get home. And another thing I wanted to look at was the energy consumption here. Driving 99%, so that must mean 1%. Hard to read that purple on black or that blue on black, but yes, it says 1% climate settings. So we've driven 226 miles. We use 71.5 kilowatt hours of juice, which is larger than the pack. So we've done a whole pack's worth of electric battery pack worth of driving and then some. And we've spent, a total of less than an hour charging between 3 charging sessions. So I think that's pretty good. I think that's solid. So I'm gonna get unplugged here, head on home, give it a think about whether I'm going to continue today, and make that determination when I get home. Okay, I'm gonna try it. There's 102 miles of range, and from home to where the next charger in the route was, it's 96 miles. So we're kind of hypermiling it. I'm gonna have to take it really easy. It's also raining, so that'll add some complexity. Wish me luck. Give every gas station a tax credit for putting in a 50 kilowatt or higher fast charger. Boom. Okay, we are 37 miles from the next Electrify America charging place. Says 68 miles of range, so we have about a 30-mile buffer, but it's raining, and this is somewhat hilly, up and down hills, so I don't know if our net elevation is changing much, but just the fact that we're going up and down hills is an extra burn rate. But I took it really easy on the flat roads before this point, basically going 5 to 10 miles under the speed limit, staying behind cars and trucks as much as I can. That's where I got my 30-mile buffer from, plus not using anything resembling climate control, except the occasional wiper swipe like this. So yeah, another 36 miles, I should get there just fine. And we'll see how many miles are left on the gum when we get there. Okay, we're at the Cambridge charger, Cambridge, Ohio. I've been here before. It's terrible. They've got 4 stations. They seem to have been put in backwards because the only way to get to a 150 for me was to pull in behind this one. Because if I were to go head in on that other side there, the cable won't reach. And if I back in, the cable won't reach because there's a pump there that I would be blocking the back of. So if I want to use a 150 instead of a 350, this was the only way I could figure out how to do it without blocking the CHAdeMO, which is over there. Which I didn't want to do either. So anyway, here we are. We're pulling 50 kilowatts. We're below 25% rate state of charge, probably around 20. And I have to check the map here because we're supposed to go all the way up to Youngstown from here. And my guess is I'm going to have to be 80% or more charged to even have a prayer of making it. So yeah, the southern loop was easy breezy. And this eastern to northeastern loop, not so breezy. Not so easy. We are still at 99% used for driving and accessories because I've been freezing my butt off in the car with no heat on. Now that we're plugged into power, I do have the heat on, so getting warmed up in here. We've traveled 359 miles. We have used 102.3 kilowatt hours of energy. Okay, 80% charged, 185 miles on the guessometer, 117 miles on the stint up to Youngstown. Let's get started.
Head west toward Ohio 209 West, Southgate Road.
Okay, here we are in Girard outside of Youngstown for our last charging stop of the day. And there's a hotel nearby I'm going to stay in for the night. But I wanted to get charged up enough here to have a good buffer for getting to our first stop tomorrow, which is in Mentor. Get started early in the morning. We can leave straight from the hotel and get right on the road and head up to Mentor. By the time we get to Mentor, the battery will be nice and toasty from the driving, and we'll charge nicely. So this is all working out pretty well. The only long stop we had was in Cambridge, whatever it was called, the previous stop, because this was a long haul to here. We'll have another long stop in Elyria tomorrow after Mentor, because we have to get all the way to the western edge of the state, along the north edge of Ohio. After that stop, that'll be a long stint similar to the one we just took from Cambridge to Youngstown. All right, well, that's enough for tonight. That's where we're starting tomorrow. Let's take a look at our energy usage. Still 98% driving. It's only 2% environmental. I did have to use the heater for the defogger for the windows on the way up here because it got cold. We've driven 475 miles. We've used 137 kilowatt hours of electricity, which is about more than double the pack size. So we've been obviously doing plenty of charging today. Okay, tomorrow is another day, and we have a little stop to make in the morning before we get out of this area, and we'll leave that for a surprise for tomorrow. Bye. That, ladies and gentlemen, is Ultium Cells in Lordstown, Ohio. The big plant that GM is building to build this the batteries for all of their next gen EVs here in Lordstown, Ohio. I wanted to detour and give that a see. That is pretty cool. It's very big. It is unfortunately very overcast and very rainy, so we don't get a very good shot of it. I'm gonna go to a parking lot that's across the road from it where there's a clearing and see if we could see it better from there. Okay, from here we're far enough back you can get a sense of the scale of the place. Okay, well that was our surprise stop for the day. Now to get back on the highway and head up to our next Electrify America charging station. This is the entrance to Lordstown Motors. Here's something interesting. Warren, Ohio, stopped for Diet Coke. Look at that. And up on that model of the Lander, they've got the pictures of Buzz and Neil. Parkman, Ohio, and there is a golf sign on this station. Look at that. So it looks like at this location we've got 150 combo CCS and Chatamo, and two 350s and a 150 CCS. Okay, we pulled in to Mentor with about 52 miles left on the Guessometer. A little under 25% state of charge. We're charging up at about 50 kilowatts. Our next stop is Sheffield Lake, which is really Elyria as far as I'm concerned. My hometown where I grew up. And from there we have a pretty long haul across all the way to the western edge of Ohio. So that's where we're really going to need juice. We've already got enough to make it over to Sheffield, so we're only going to charge here for probably 10 minutes, and then head across through Cleveland, basically going from the east side to the west side. Oh, I forgot to check our energy. Okay, well, a little uptick in climate settings, 3%. Yeah, I've been using I've got the thing on, but I've got heat off, and all I've got on is this, and I don't know if that's causing resistive heating to happen, because there is warm air coming out of these vents, even though heat is not on. Okay, anyway, we've traveled 541 miles. We've used 154.5 kilowatt hours of energy. So that's a lot. So we're a little, we're about 100 miles over halfway done. So by the time we're done, we'll have used like 300 kilowatt hours. We'll check that when we get there. Okay, we charged up to about 48%, 125 miles predicted range. We've only got 46 miles to go. I'm just going to hightail it down 90 through Cleveland over to Elyria. Here we go.
Head west toward Reynolds Road.
Hello, Cleveland. Hello, Cleveland. Right on the lake. Okay, this is pretty much exactly the same layout as Mentors. We've got 4 stations. The rightmost station is a 150 with CCS and Chatham. The middle 2 are 350s, and the one on the left end is a 150. So we're going to jack in here, start charging up, and take a look at how far we have to get. I predict we're going to be here for a little while. Okay, 52 miles predicted range right now. We're getting a good, healthy 48 kilowatts charging speed. That's the good news. Here's the bad news. 144 miles to the next destination. We're basically going to have to charge at least to 80%, possibly 90%, to give us some cushion. Okay, we're about 30 minutes into this charging session, and I remain impressed by the taper. It's only down to 42 kilowatt from 50, and we're approaching 75%. It predicts another 25 minutes to 80%. I think it's going to finish before then, although the taper may get bigger here as we approach 75. But anyway, I think it's pretty cool that it holds that close to its max, well past 50%. Okay, adjustment. When I had looked at this before, it was like 140 something miles, and I decided to take a look at the directions it was using, and it had me getting on the turnpike, which the point of this is to go really up 20 and 2 above the turnpike, then cut down and come back across the turnpike. I'm not going to go west on the turnpike, turn around and go east on the turnpike. That's not happening. So we're going to hug the coast, the northern coast, on Route 20 and Route 2. And so I canceled the route plan and redid it so that it did that. And that increased the mileage to 159 miles and the time by almost an hour. So we need more range, but actually you would think we probably don't, because these roads are going to be stop and go through towns and things, so it's not going to be like highway driving. We're going to get much better mileage, but at any rate, we're at about 75%, 177 miles of range, which should theoretically get us to our destination with the new routing. Has tapered down to 33, so yeah, by the time we get to 80, it'll only be pulling probably 25, which is half. Okay, the station says I'm at an 80% state of charge, 200 miles of range, still pulling 26 kilowatts. About the 25 that I expected. Yep. So, time to fire up and get on the road. That is the Davis-Besse nuclear power plant, if I am not mistaken. Energy Harbor. Yep, Davis-Besse Nuclear Power Plant. That is what that is. The GOM has gone orange because we only have 34 miles of range. We only have 11 miles to go to get to our destination, though, but it doesn't know that, which is kind of the whole problem here. Is this isn't the GPS isn't connected to the car. The car doesn't know where I'm going, so it's making up guesses as to how much range it has with no information. It doesn't know how fast I'm going to be going. It doesn't know elevation changes. You know, it just doesn't have the info it needs. So it could just guess based on past behavior.
Use the right lane to take the I-80 ramp. In a quarter mile, keep right at the fork. Follow signs for I-80, I-90 East.
Our westward trek has ended. From this point on, we are going east and south. All right, I'm going to plug in. I'm going to get charging started. I'm going to go in, take a potty break, get something to eat, come back and see where we're at. Okay, after about a half hour of R&R, I'm back to the car. And when I got in, it claimed it was still pulling like 48 kilowatts, even though it was about 50%. I was wondering if it's because it's on a 350. instead of 150, but that shouldn't have any bearing on what the car can accept. They're both way higher than it can deal with. But looking at my car here, this beautiful day, for the half hour I've been here, nobody else has come to charge. It's got me thinking about what's going to happen when people start buying EVs. And I just really hope that Electrify America and any other networks like ChargePoint or EVgo who are expanding their networks don't think they're done, because this is a pilot network. I mean, congrats, Electrify America. You've got it so people can go cross country through multiple routes, chargers every 100 miles on a few major routes. Keyword is chargers, just a couple. I mean, this station has 5. A lot of them only have 4. Some of them have 6. But that's about it. And so when the EV density is 1 to 5% of the cars on the road, that's probably fine. But 2 years from now, if things keep going the way they're going, that's going to be 20%, 25%. And 5 chargers, 100 miles apart each, is not going to cut it. That's one of the reasons I did this trip this summer, to go to all these locations in Ohio, because I think, even though I've only, in all the charging stops I've made in the past 2 days, and there have been many, I've seen one other car charging besides mine. So, you know, nowhere near capacity, obviously. And, but I'll bet next summer they will be busy. And there will be, if there are 5 chargers at a place, I'll bet 3 of them will be in use during peak times regularly. And then in 2023, they will be full most of the time. And at that point, if they haven't expanded the network, if they haven't added many 10x more places and 10x more chargers per place, then we're going to be in a world of hurt in 2025, and it could cause the whole thing to fail, because then people will buy 2 cars. They'll buy a car for trips and a car for home, for around town. People already have like a family car and dad's car. And dad may buy an EV, but the family car will have to be a gas-powered SUV, because otherwise we can't get out of town. And I'm worried about that being the scenario, where we reach a critical mass where EVs can't be used, aren't considered viable for out-of-town travel. I hope that's not what happens. Well, it's starting to peter off here. There is very little reason for me to stay.
Head south toward I-80 East, I-90 East.
Because my next one is the other Electrify America charger on the Ohio Turnpike, which is only 56 miles from here. So I'm going to head that way, stop there, plug in, and then figure out what we need to get to the very last charger on our trip, which is in Mansfield, Ohio. And from there, it's a short hop of about 40 miles home. Alrighty, let's go. This is awesome. There are actually 3 cars here. This beautiful Porsche Taycan, another Bolt, and me. Okay, just got back on the highway after my last stop on the Turnpike. I realized that I was so excited by the take-in and everything else that was there that, well, nothing else was there except another bolt, but that I neglected to shoot any footage of my mileage before and after, or where we're going. So I guess I'll just describe it while I'm driving. We pulled in there with about almost 100 miles of range still, and our next stop is 86 miles away, so I charged it up to just only 20 minutes or so. We're at 134 miles of range, and we are going from the turnpike. We'll be getting off the turnpike at 3 miles, and then we will be driving smaller highways and back roads all the way down to Mansfield for our final stop. That's the news. Keep it on. Town of Bellevue. Bellevue. Very nice public library. Okay, our last stop, Mansfield. Plugged in and ramping up. We don't need to stop here at all, but for completeness, we are. We have been to every Electrify America fast charger in Ohio that I know of that shows up on their map in the past 2 days. I think the quantity of stops is 9, chargers is 9. This one I've been to a lot. This is in Mansfield at a Walmart. Use this one frequently on my trips up to see my family in northeastern Ohio. Actually, kind of North Olmsted, it's kind of North Ohio. Anyway, usually I get up there, and on the way back, I either have to stop in Elyria for a charge or in Mansfield for a charge. Let's take a look at our energy usage. We've driven 891 miles. We have used 247.6 kilowatts. Only 2% for climate control, which is really, really good. So the longer the trip, the less climate you use when it's reasonable out. So 55 degrees. It's mostly been 50 to 60 degrees on this trip. Mostly closer to 50. Anyway, we're going to charge up a bit, recharge ourselves a little bit, get on the road, and our final stop is home sweet home. Okay, wrapping up. I've just gotten back to my starting destination of home. 87 miles left. Here's all the deets. Total of 932 miles, 260 kilowatt hours of electricity used. Only 2% for climate. 98% of that was all for moving the vehicle. So, we hit every stop. We did all the stuff. I'm going to calculate all the charges at each stop and everything, and I'm going to put a spreadsheet together and make that part of this this shindig. Other than that, boy, I'm whooped. Quite a day. Today was harder than yesterday, even though the weather was better. Glad to be home. Ants.